So Christelle is a dietitian, but then she also brings in different modalities as part of assisting people to eat better, which we will go into more detail about. But Christelle, maybe you can lay the framework for the people that don't know you and just give a brief
Sure. So
elevator
I
pitch
have
introduction.
17 years of experience as a clinical dietitian, nutritionist. And with time, I noticed a pattern in people. People are able to lose weight. They know what they need to eat, but then they gain the weight back. And this made me think, like, how can I help these people? They know what to eat. They can even count calories better than me. And this is where I decided to go more into the mental part and understand what's behind a decision, a behavior. And this is where I got into hypnotherapy. So in hypnotherapy, we understand the subconscious mind and emotional eating. And then I felt like this is not enough. I want to understand more a behavior. And this is where I got into breath work and the nervous system. So the basic of everything is like the nervous system that push you to do things. And this is how I combine different modalities to help people break emotional eating and stop their weight gain through everything but a diet.
I love this, and there's so many things I'm going to pick up on. But let's start with the very beginning, right? So you said counting calories. How much does, because when people obsess about calories, I feel like they could eat an apple and they'll gain weight. Okay, I'm exaggerating, right?
Yeah.
But how much does worrying about it play into not getting the result they want?
Actually, we do not see that 99% of diets do not work. And if you really know this number, you will never go into a diet. But people don't know that every single person going into diet, it will be a failure at the end and you will gain back all the weight. Because what matters is not what you eat. It's how you eat, where you eat, and why you eat.
Interesting. So is it that diets don't work because they're not sustainable? They're like a quick fix? Or is it that they don't work for other reasons?
Well, there's many reasons, but mainly this one, which is when you go into restriction. So in general, people think a diet, oh my God, I need to either count calories or remove the carbs, change whatever I like to eat, right? So when you are in a diet, you are into restriction or control. You're controlling it. And this is not sustainable, right? But even if you say, okay, eat moderately, eat a little bit healthy and a bit of everything, still this is not enough because I want to see when are you eating, why you're eating, and all the other things. So yeah, the restriction will put you directly into overeating. So it's like two sides of a coin. And whenever a person like has emotional eating, a person is overeating and goes into, okay, I'm gonna stop now and I will not listen to my emotions or eat when and then he goes into restriction. We're still in the same problem.
So when you say that when someone feels restricted, they end up eating more, what is it about the psyche that causes that? It's like, is it that when I'm saying, okay, don't have a donut and the donut's there, all I'm thinking about is the donut? Or what is it that makes us want something that's restricted?
Yeah, exactly.
I can ask you these questions because of the brain element of it as well and not just the dietary.
Yes. So if I tell you, don't think about the elephant.
You automatically do.
So you never go by don't do something, even when you teach things for kids. If you tell them stop screaming, they will scream. What you need to do, you show them what they need to do. Can you use your indoor voice?
Okay.
So you show them the way. So instead of telling you don't eat the donut, that means I'm still thinking about what you're eating.
But what is it about the psyche that wants something restrictive? Is it just because it's mentioned and whatever is mentioned the brain thinks of? Or is there something else?
Because you're focusing on it.
Okay, so it's the focus.
So wherever you're focusing on that, you will be thinking about that.
So when you help people, like you were saying, change their thoughts to change their eating habits, is this only for people that overeat, or is this for anyone that wants to lose weight or have some other kind of fitness, dietary achievement?
Applies to everything. Even Dr. Joe Dispenza says, change your thought to change your life. From where he says that, it's because we know that when you're thinking about something, you're going to feel something, and then you're going to behave in a certain way or act in a certain way. So if I change my thought at the end, I'll be able to change my life.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little bit of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy that psychologists uses. So this is one part of it. So yeah, when you change your thought in any topic, like being positive, optimistic, you will be able to change your action. If you're thinking this person's criticizing me, right, and you feel annoyed, then you might behave in a very negative way toward that person.
True.
Versus if you're not seeing that, or you're not thinking that this person's criticizing you, he's just giving you feedback, then your reaction will completely change.
100%.
Same for food. So if you're thinking, I'm going to give you an example so it becomes more practical. So here it's not about emotions. So you're following a diet and you step on a scale and it shows that you haven't lost weight. You're going to think, oh my God, I failed again. This diet's not working. You know what? I'm annoyed. I'm anxious. I don't like it. I'm sad that it's not working. And then you stop the diet, or you overeat that night because you say, anyway, I'm not losing weight.
Yes.
So there's nothing related to emotion. It's only the thought, right? A distortion, basically. You overgeneralized and you went into black or white thinking, if I haven't lost weight, then I will never lose weight. Yeah? So you behaved that way. Change your thought to change your behavior.
But it's very easy to say, just think positive, change your thoughts. But how do you actually do that? Because it's not something that, unless you, I think, have very strong willpower to say, like, okay, I'm now this new person. What is the process that you go through for changing your thoughts?
Exactly. So that's why I have a program. So I take people over 6 or 8 weeks because it needs time.
Yeah.
As you said, it's not if I tell you stop doing that, you will stop, right? So you need first to raise your awareness. First, I teach the 12 distortions that we all do. For example, the black or white thinking, blaming, labeling, all these are distortions. First, you need to know them, to see them, and to start noticing them. This is step one in everything, whether in distortions, in the thinking, in the feeling. You have to be aware what you are doing. So if I tell you, let me help you with your eating behavior first, let's see your pattern. What do you do? When do you do? Where do you eat? All of these things. So first one, notice, to raise the awareness so it doesn't become or stay in your subconscious. So I see it. And then I can start finding a way to change it. And this is where we call change your thought. So here there is a technique to change it. Once you notice it, then you change it. I'll give you an example. You say, for example, about the gym, okay? I should go to the gym. This is a distortion. It's called the should statement. You shouldn't say should, yeah? Because if you feel I should, it's an obligation, you will not go. It would be better if I go to the gym, my body will feel better, I'll feel more energetic. First, it's not an obligation and you change it. So this is what we teach. We teach how to change it. It's not being completely positive. Yeah, I can say this is, a bit tiring. The gym might tire me, or I don't feel like really working out, but my body will feel better if I do it. So it's not being delusional or overly positive, because being overly positive doesn't help you. Even positive affirmation won't really help you if you don't feel it, sense it, but also repeat it. So here comes the repetition. So awareness, finding a healthier alternative or changing the way you're saying it, but repeating it, because the same way you repeated the not good behavior and it became a habit, you need to do all over again the repetition with the new style. Then this will become your automatic behavior. It will be a learned habit now.
Of course. No, and I like what you said about, like you said, it's not about distortion, but it's about seeing the positives, right? And eventually finding enough to convince yourself that this is what you want to do, or finding a conviction to do it.
Yeah.
And that's it's a very nice way of looking at it. Let me ask you this though, because everything, I agree with you, starts with awareness, right? So you recognize it. And they say that awareness is the first step to cure, and I say that. But once you recognize it, you obviously then have to know what to do with that, right? So if I recognize that I have a trigger, for example, like from something, fine, I've recognized it. What do? Do I replace it? Do I replace the trigger? Do I replace the food with something else? Like, what is the solution once I have the awareness?
Yes, perfect question. So here you can have different options. Let's talk exactly about emotional eating. So you noticed, and now you know when you're feeling like you want to eat because of an emotion, you pause, you breathe. I noticed I want to eat because I'm angry and I feel like eating a donut. Option 1, you can go and eat, but maybe something healthy. That's one option. You're not really changing a behavior because you're keeping the eating, right? You're still using food to soothe an emotion, but it's healthier. Another option, you go for a healthier alternative. For example, if the anger was the origin of the emotion, then you go and release that emotion or energy, because emotion is energy that needs to move. In a gym, in a boxing class, you find your way to release that energy, the anger. If it's sadness, you can go and talk to a friend, talk to your therapist, maybe go for a walk. So you need to change the emotion. It wasn't about the donut. It was about the initial emotion. So here, you helped yourself use another or healthier alternative. The third option is sitting with the feeling. And this is a little bit harder than the other options, but this is how you train, right? I give you several options and ways. Depending on the situation, if the emotion is not too high that you can handle it, you can learn how to sit with the emotion. If it's too big, you can go for a healthier alternative. But sitting with the emotion, what does it mean? It's really seeing it, accepting it, not judging it, not saying, why am I feeling that way? And just not change it, because a feeling stays 90 seconds.
Yeah. That's it, yeah.
That's it. It's only the stories that add to that will make it spiral, and then you go and eat and do things. But if you just accept it, allow it. Yes, I don't feel good now because this and this happened, and I feel, I don't feel good. And then you talk to your body, like, where do you feel it? I feel it in my chest. I feel it, in my head. I have migraine, or my hands are sweaty. You feel the sensation in the body, and then it will go.
90 seconds.
90 seconds.
And I've also heard people say when they speak about accepting negative emotions, right? So not eating ones, but like anxiety, anger. I've heard people say, okay, sit with it, be like, it's okay that you're here, like I welcome you kind of thing. And then seeing what's underneath it. Because it's not usually the feeling that we're feeling right away. That's actually the feeling that's where it's coming from.
Yes, basically an emotion, we can never say negative. Why? Because all emotions are there to help us. So if you're angry, it's because you want to change something. Without anger, you would not change the situation. If your boss is like, talking to you like in a very mean way, if you don't get angry, you won't go and say what you want. Even countries changing, the government, etc. So all emotions are there to show us the best way to reach our authentic person. Sadness, because also you want to change something, right? You want to do something you like, more of the things you like to do. So all emotions are here to guide us in our life. They are all there for a reason, and that's why there's nothing negative or positive. And even if you look at the emotional wheel, you might see that there's more negative than positive. You have fear, you have anger, you have disgust, you have happiness, which is one a bit positive, and you have sadness. So the core of the emotion, when you look at the emotional wheel, so if you're frustrated, the core of it is one of these 6 emotions: happiness, disgust, anger, fear, sadness. So this is where you go really to, what am I feeling? And one of the very interesting feeling, boredom. So when you feel bored,
Yes.
do you know what's the core emotion of this one?
No.
Sadness.
No way.
It's in the emotional wheel. I will show it to you later.
How?
If
Can
you
you
just show
explain
it
that?
also. Because try to remember a time when you were at home. Sometimes you feel bored, sometimes not. Well, what changes? On that day, the day you felt bored, the day you're not feeling that good, the day you feel actually sad, but you're not aware of it. And some other days, you're at home doing nothing, yeah? You're doing nothing, but you're not bored. Once you notice, I'm bored, It's coming from sadness. What happened with me? From where this is coming?
Yeah.
Then you're able to, hold space for what happened to you instead of going to eat.
Yes.
Or mask it with distractions, because you're going to be distracted, right? You're going to, put a movie, whatever you want. This is distraction. It helps sometimes, like a healthy alternative. But if you do it all the time, then you're masking the sadness. You're not dealing with it. So why do we want to be aware of things? To be able to deal with it without reacting. We need, as a human being, to move from reaction to I decide, I choose. I want to choose my behavior. And this take you to the fourth option of whenever you want to emotionally eat. Well, the fourth option, go and emotionally eat.
Okay, so I'm glad that you said that awareness is just about recognizing it so you can choose how to react, right? Because I was going to ask you, like, with certain things coming from childhood traumas or from different places with different people, different cultures, like you were saying that all of these are positive, so but what you fear might be different from what I fear. So it's just about, exactly like you were saying, choosing your way forward. But what is it about food that makes people feel good when they emotionally eat? Like, why?
Yeah, it's a lovely,
Because I mean,
lovely story. Well, it all comes first from milk.
Okay. Yeah. So it's the first thing that comforts a baby.
Yes. So milk is the first food, and it's connected to warmth and connection to the mother. So the baby directly connects food to safety, connection, belonging. So kind of we're always drawn to that feeling. I want food because food has a different value. It's not anymore nutrients, protein, carbs and fat. When you eat, you want that connection.
No, that makes sense. But then why do some people have a higher propensity to emotionally eat than others? Because if we're all brought up the same way, then you would assume that we would all have, but people don't.
Well, we're not all brought up the same way.
Well, no, but with milk.
Yeah. So here comes the behavior. So the mother and the father. Actually, emotional eating starts when you are like 3 years old. Can you imagine? 3 years. So when you force a child to eat, to finish his plate, no, finish your plate, we shouldn't, throw the food, it's not good. What are you teaching that kid? Do not listen to your body. So the child starts disconnecting from his body. This is one way. Another way, rewarding with food. If you're behaving well, you'll get ice cream. So you're rewarded with food. And you punish with food. Yeah? If you misbehave, you won't get that. Or when you go and do a vaccine, we're going to go and get you a chocolate. All these behavior are a way to teach a child to use food to punish himself, and I will tell you how, to reward, to disconnect from the body because you're finishing the food. Or for example, now as adults, we just eat because everybody's eating, or someone, offered you food and then you're shy to say no thank you, but actually you're not hungry, but you feel obliged to eat, especially during, festivities and things like that. So every time you eat, whenever you're not hungry, you're disconnecting from your body. So it's not only emotional eating, any trigger. Are you eating because you need to finish your food, because you ordered in the restaurant and you don't want to throw it, or because someone offered you, or just sensory triggers, because someone, when you see someone eating next to you, then you feel, a little bit tempted because you saw it. So this is also sensory trigger. So yeah, we behave in different ways depending on your upbringing, childhood, education. And that's why nowadays, to prevent emotional eating, we start teaching parents how to behave around food. If a mother also follows a diet, and then what is she saying to the kids? I should be in a certain, body image. I should restrict myself from eating to lose weight. So the child is learning food is something I can control and use it in different ways. All these are, injected in kids, and that's why some people have it, some people don't, right? But also there's a little bit of personality. Yeah, some personalities are more drawn into addiction, and these people have less dopamine than others. For example, men or women with ADHD, they are more prone to addictions, including emotional eating, because their serotonin level is low. They need food, and we see it more often in overeating with women with ADHD.
And I mean, we were speaking about this before the podcast. Like, a lot of addictions like can be eradicated, but when you have an addiction to food, it has to be managed, because it's not like you can just stop.
I would say it's one of the most dangerous because, yeah, exactly. You cannot just stop it. We need to learn how to live with food.
Exactly.
It's not like smoking. We can just, stop buying and stop hanging out with people who are smoking, and then you stop thinking about it. Although nicotine is one of the most addictive substance, but the food is there. So if you don't fix the relationship with food, you will never be able to, have a healthy relationship. We need to learn. We need to understand our triggers. And there are so many triggers, as you can see: emotional, environmental, sensory, childhood. And this is how we need to tackle all these. And it's different for you than me, than other people.
Definitely. And so this is why you're saying changing the thoughts, which you said takes 6 to 8 weeks, right? A program.
Yeah.
But does that always include the hypnotherapy, or is that also very individualistic?
Yeah, so the changing your thought, it's not, we don't go into the subconscious. It's clearly your conscious that needs to see what you are doing. So this is what psychologists also do, the CBT type. So you just see it, think about it. But when we go into hypnotherapy, it's more your subconscious. So our brain has the conscious and subconscious. The conscious is 5%. All your decisions, you decide to eat, to move, to dress in a certain way, you think it's 5% and you say it, but actually it's 95% driving it, driving that behavior. And when we do hypnotherapy, we work on the 95%. So what is pushing you to do that? And this comes from childhood, but also things that happened during your life that pushed that behavior by repetition, etc. So yeah, working on that level is more into neuroscience and nervous system. So we need to go into the body sensations and see how your body is perceiving that. So it's completely different than the thought. So the thought is one pillar, and the other pillar is nervous system. How's your body perceiving it, and how does it move, and from where it's coming.
The latter part about the nervous system is very interesting to me, because I've heard already the trigger action, a reward in the brain, and even that the dopamine center lights up before the reward actually when there's an addiction. But the nervous system part is very interesting, because that's not a part that I've heard included in other things. So can you go into that into a bit more detail? So, because I'm assuming that ties into, say for example, I'm not feeling good but I smile. Automatically in my brain, it makes me feel better, right?
Yeah.
Like, you make your body do something and that tricks your brain into believing almost the same thing, if I can say it that way. So is it kind of the same thing by regulating your nervous system? You're taking away the effects and thereby helping regulate the relationship more?
Yeah. So basically the nervous system, and we're talking about the automatic nervous system, it has kind of two pathways: rest and digest, and the other one is fight and flight. So in the rest and digest, this is when you eat in a healthy way, you stop when you're full, and your body is able to digest the food. Unfortunately, most of our time we're in our fight and flight because of a lot of stressors in our life. So we're all the time in the fight and flight, and when we are in the fight and flight, we don't digest food, and our eating behavior becomes, erratic. We start eating beyond the fullness. We eat automatically. We dissociate even. So this is where working with the nervous system will automatically affect your food. So if you regulate yourself on a daily basis and watch whenever you're into the fight and flight and move yourself to the rest and digest, this is how the eating will automatically go in the right way.
And I have a feeling that would really help the brain regardless. Like, it would help somebody's...
And that's why this program doesn't only help you with your eating behavior, it will help you with everything, because it's how you react to people when you want to just be fighting them or just trying to avoid the conflict. Well, what we need from you is to sit, and decide how you want to react instead of having the subconscious pushing you to do something and you're not aware of it. So yeah, it's really interesting also to think about it. You know, in prehistory, you have the human being. He's like just eating, digesting his food, and then there's a lion. He has several options: fighting the lion or escaping the lion. But unfortunately, the lion used to come like 1 or 2 times, right? And now we're bombarded by everything. So our nervous system is in a constant, as if constantly I have a lion in front of me, bombarded by messages on my phone, traffic light, duties, deadlines. We are, like, our nervous system is not meant to be in this modern life. The TV, social media, all messages. So my body is constantly in the fight and flight instead of the rest and digest, and that's why my eating behaviors completely out of place.
I think I read somewhere that the stress level of people today is the same as what would land them in a psych ward. Like, I don't remember how many years back, but probably quite a while.
Interesting.
But when we were speaking before the podcast, there's something I wanted to bring up. So you were saying that women need to trust their intuition more, right? But I wanted to ask you about this because my intuition is going to be different from your intuition based on life experiences, etc. So why should women trust their intuition when their intuitions might be completely different?
Yeah, and you know, to tap into your intuition is completely
It takes time.
It takes time. You need to train yourself.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you might think it's intuition, but you're actually acting out of trauma.
Yeah.
It's your nervous system. So you can tap into your intuition if your nervous system is regulated. Because this is how you will be able to tap into your intuition. From a regulated nervous system, you're grounded, you can tap into your intuition. If you're in the fight and flight, your intuition is trauma.
Right. Yeah, because you're not thinking clearly in that moment. So what are some of your suggestions for regulating the nervous system, given that we are always in this fight or flight mode?
Breath work is one of them. It's really, really like interesting. And now it's like people think it's a biohacking and, you know, they add so many words to breath work. And breath work, I will just give you an example how breath work happens. So breath work is part of, like breathing, right? The lungs are part of the automatic nervous system that I was talking about lately. And the lungs are the only organ in the automatic nervous system that can function automatically, but you can manipulate it. So you cannot manipulate your heart to make it beat faster. You cannot decide, I want to digest my food now, but you can manipulate your breathing anytime you want, and it can also automatically go. So they found that your breath is the link between the conscious and the subconscious, because you can go automatically or you decide to manipulate it. And with breath work, you can change your state. So if you are in the fight and flight, with my breath work, I can give a signal to my brain that I am safe, I'm not in danger, and I go into rest and digest. And usually you shift nervous system styles every 1 hour and a half. So instead of me waiting for 1 hour and a half to come out of my fight and flight, I can do a breath work that takes me much faster to my rest and digest. So if you come out of a meeting that didn't go well, you're agitated, your heart is beating fast, you feel like your breath work, your breathing is very fast, you can do a small breath work. One of my favorite is the 5-5. It's called 5 in, 5 out. It's also called balancing breathing or coherence breathing. So this type of breath work can help balance the two hemispheres of your brain and allows you to go into more homeostasis. So you signal your brain that you're calm, and you can do it anywhere. You can be driving. It's not dangerous, because some other breath work can help you sleep. 5 in, 5 out is the first thing I teach to everyone. So you breathe for 5 seconds in from the nose, and then you exhale 5 seconds from the mouth. So, and then, and always from the belly. It should be deep, because most of us are shallow breather, right? And we breathe from the chest. When we breathe from the chest, we signal the fight and flight. If I breathe deep in my belly, I signal I want to go in my rest and digest. So how deep you go in your breathing, the technique, 5 in, 5 out, and also if you use your nose and your mouth. So it's always good to inhale from the nose. People who are inhaling from the mouth signal fight and flight, and that's why people who snore at night, have problem with breathing, are also very nervous, and they need to arrange the problem, their respiratory problem, so they can go more into rest and digest. So this is one style, the breath work. Of course, you have other modalities, journaling, movement, right? Meditation. All of these things can help your nervous system.
What I was very surprised about the first time I learned to breathe from my belly is that it feels so unnatural, because most of us don't do it naturally. And to learn, like, maybe you can explain a little bit, because I don't think enough people actually know how to breathe from their belly.
Yes. So usually when you inhale, your belly needs to come out. And with the, I have to have my 6 packs looking nice. So I always tell people, release your belly. When you inhale, you have your belly that, goes bigger. And then when you exhale, it goes in. So always put your hand on your belly for the first 5, rounds, and try to work it. Big, out, big, out, until you have it right. And how do we know that this is the best way? We look at a baby. Always babies know the best, right? So this is how you see when a baby, when he inhales, his belly goes up. And also look at a baby when you want to learn how to eat. A baby knows when to eat and when to stop. So actually we all have very good signals in our body. But it's what happened to us, how they taught us to do things, society, stress, that change our, disconnection from the body. We get disconnected.
I'm going to ask you one more question before we stop. But, okay, so number one, being able to regulate your body, right, changes how you feel. And then changing your mind or your thoughts is obviously a big part of it. So those two. By helping people to change their thoughts about emotional eating, finding their triggers, and just generally think differently about food, how much have you seen that translate into other areas of their lives, other than feeling more confident?
Actually, emotional eating is the window. So they come in to this program because they think they are not able to manage their eating behavior, they are gaining weight, and then they come out with a life-changing. Exactly. So all the reviews, like, I came in for the emotional eating, I came out with understanding myself, my emotions, my thoughts, and how to regulate my nervous system. This will, of course, touch everything related to your life, your relationship, your, family, at work, yourself. It's also coming from loving yourself. Actually, when we are emotionally eating, because we're not regulated, but also we don't love ourselves, right? Because if you really love yourself, you wouldn't do anything that damages your body.
Of course.
So when you increase self-love, instead of just, shaming people like, you're thinking about yourself. Yeah, you have to think about yourself, because actually we don't think about ourselves. We think about everybody else except on how to take care of ourselves.
And they say if you don't take care of yourself, you cannot take care of everyone else.
100%.
Like, or if you don't love yourself, you cannot love other people.
100%.
So it's like in the airplane with the mask, you help yourself first before the others.
Yes, and for mothers, if they do not take care of themselves, exercise, eat healthy, they cannot support their family. They cannot do anything without it.
Exactly. So it's good, and I can imagine that the concepts that they learn, they can then apply to other things and just be more positive in general. So thank you, Christelle.
Thank you.
I'm excited to try your course.
Thank you.